Hello. I am,
Hello.
I am freezing. I just want you to know this. Very, I am very cold. I've been sitting on my hands during the countdown. I'm like, please warm up. Please warm up. My
What's
hand.
going on?
It's so cold. I'm freezing. I'm like this. My hand, and I can't feel anything like on my hand. So I'm like, I was like, and it's so funny because as I keep going, as we're working, I get more and more numb. I
hmm
Yeah, I can't think straight. But anyways, welcome everyone back. Hope you guys had fun in the first session. This is our second session today, the second session of the training arc. Um, I want to first some really big news. Today's our Kickstarter launch. We're like a few bucks shy from 50% within the first 3 hours. So we've
I
done
know.
really awesome, and thank you to everyone. We have some amazing, generous support from our fans um, who have just given so generously to starting this thing up, and we're really excited. We've had just wanted to list a few. We're gonna definitely shout them out on Discord too. We haven't had a chance because we've been so busy. But Katia, Giumi, No More Normalcy, Fabian, Song of Insanity, Nikki and Omid gave huge, were big backers to this, and I can't tell you how much they're top tier backers, and that really meant a lot to us. We know how much you guys love creating your OCs and how seriously you treat them, and so this kind of product, this kind of like thing, was created specifically for you guys because
hmm
of your care and love for your OCs. So you guys were in mind when we were creating these. So having your kind of backing to this means a whole lot to us because we built it with you guys in mind. So deep thanks to you guys for that. I deeply appreciate that. Corn, Mal, Jimmy, from our usuals community, our close knit community. Just wanted to thank you guys so much for helping us get to 50%. We're just a few bucks shy. I think we're like $5 shy from 50%. Um, which when we did, we were talking about when we did the Flux Destiny Kickstarter 2 years ago. I can't believe it's been basically 2 years, right? Like about a year and a half or so. We
Yeah.
we hit the goal within less than 48 hours. We hit the whole thing, and then we went way beyond it. So
hmm
so we're hoping to do the same thing this time. So we're really excited about it. Um, okay, so today we are going to be, during this session, we're going to be doing something really fun. We're going to learn to draw teeth. Now, if you've seen my style of drawing teeth, I have a very particular way to do it. I think teeth are so aesthetically cool in drawings when you do them right. They're fun. They can look really good, right? There's something, just I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
chunky shapes. Some of my favorite teeth. I may give My Hero Academia a hard time because of the profiles, but the teeth in My Hero are just chef's
Yeah.
kiss
They're
teeth.
really cool.
They're very good. So we're gonna learn to draw teeth today. So I'm gonna teach you guys that, and it's a little simpler than you might even imagine.
I think it's an underrated skill because it really does form because the top half is the eyebrows and the bottom half really is the mouth
Yeah, it
when it
really,
comes
you,
to like
so much is
expression and stuff.
communicated. You're absolutely, so much is communicated through the mouth in addition to the eyes, that you and what you do with the teeth also serves as its own character, right? Like we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
certain character traits that, like other physical traits that can translate into character traits. It's the same with teeth. Like some characters have jacked up teeth, right, on purpose, and that can give add something. Sometimes you'll have teeth like you don't have, like some characters will have perfectly beautiful teeth like mine, like this, or they'll have
Aw.
teeth that'll have like one tooth. Like I actually love when that happens. Whenever you see a character and then they'll have like their teeth are kind of like they have just little characteristics about their teeth. It's really cool. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do that today. How we're gonna learn to draw those things today. So, anyways, so get ready. So I don't know why, Jimmy. I just saw your question. I don't know why. I just thought it was cute and kind of like cat-like. Whenever they give them little fangs, so I always thought it was supposed to be kind of like cute and like mischievous. But maybe there's something deeper. I don't know the.
I think he means the big shark teeth, like when they have like the full mouth is like
Oh,
completely
that
sharp.
I don't know. I would just think it would be cool.
I
But
think it's
then
just meant to be a tough, like a
yeah,
tough character.
right.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you give uh Cosmo shark
Mhm.
teeth, so it's
It's
just meant
true.
to be kind of like dangerous, I think.
Right. Okay. Well, if you're new here, I'm RC. I'm the creator of Flux Destiny. Got Ella right here with me, right my right hand. So we are our welcome to the third day and the final day of the training arc. Our server is open, so if you're new here and you've been looking for an opportunity to get into our community, now is the best time to do it because normally you have to get into a Patreon tier or buy one of our products to get in. But we have such a really great community that I want you to make sure that you get a chance to get in while it's open. So we usually open these during events. So Ella will drop the link in the chat for getting in the server while it's open. We have such an awesome community. I say this all the time because it's true. You can tell from the folks that we've got here in the chat. They're not only have become great friends, but they have fun creating characters, RPing together. Following along in the story of Flux Destiny, doing the Flux Fantasy TTRPG, and also we deeply appreciate their support of our studio and our community. So we're just this really cool place here. So if you're getting tired of the darkness that is surrounding all of us in this world right now, we've created this little oasis where you can come make friends, be creative, have a good time, and forget all that. Right? Forget all that. We have only good vibes here. Okay.
So true.
All right. So ready to go? Anything else, Ella, before I go?
No, I'm excited. I feel like this is something that is often just like people often just will draw like lines for, which is totally fine. But I think when you do it right, it gives 3D-ness, even when it's just a single line, because of the way that it curves and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of beauty in like teeth and mouths and things like that. So I'm really excited. The more I learn to take things out of like 2D and make them feel 3D, the better I feel about my art journey. So,
You know, another thing that about teeth is that teeth are also a um, subconscious human indicator of health, right? And so they
mm-hmm.
also teeth are teeth are something that we subconsciously look at to see the condition of someone's health. They're usually like an indicator. And so there's all sorts of indicators that you may not be realizing that you're looking at or calculating based off that are just part of our evolution. And so someone who's got teeth that if someone has all their teeth have fallen out or something, you're going to have certain reactions to that, right? Versus someone who has like really nice teeth. So teeth can play all sorts of parts in a character design. You can also use teeth to indicate youth, right? Like you can have younger kids. Like if you're drawing a kid who's like a middle schooler or younger, for example, you can draw them with missing teeth, right? As if they're, and that's where context is appropriate, right? Because if you've got um, younger characters who are missing a tooth, like I've got Spike in our manga, he's missing a tooth, right? But he's like 11 years old, 11 or 12, so he's got a missing tooth to show that he's losing his teeth. Those kind of things is always good to remember because then you can add that to your character design, right? Maybe your character is a young character like that, and you want to show their youth more by having them have a missing tooth. Or if a character is really old and you want to show them like in a state of decay, you can show their teeth missing, right? Or you can have characters who's a tough guy, right? Like a tough guy who's like gets in fights all the time and he's got a missing tooth, a gold tooth, whatever you want to do. So there's all sorts of cool things you can do with the teeth. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's get to learning about teeth. Let me get the camera switched over. All right. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least I can.
Okay. So first, just like anything, we always talk about when we're learning about when we're drawing. I'm always telling you about get curious about human anatomy and like learn the specifics, right? Because if you know the specifics, you draw it better and it's more convincing. So I have this little map of the human mouth for you here. And the reason why I have this area circled here is that I want you to see that most of the time you only see these parts of the teeth when the mouth is open, depending on the angle. But it's normally like this area here, right? This part. And the truth is that depending on the angle of the mouth, you may also see these, the molars and premolars in the back. But it's the detail that you want to put is usually here on the front. And everyone's like, oh, everyone loves doing, one thing I love to do is to draw the canines. I love drawing canines on characters. But knowing where the canines are is important, right? Some people put like the canines, like canines, I have it memorized. You know me and all my like rules and guidelines. You have 4 teeth. You have 4 teeth between the canines, right? Like these are the canines right here. These. Right? And so there's 4 teeth between them. So whenever I'm drawing a mouth, I'm always thinking about the position of those canines, right? Here as well. So also, this is not a rule. I'm just telling you kind of like general human anatomy. Typically, when you can give the canines to anyone. You can, for any sort of reason, right? You want to make them look more mischievous. You want to make them look more threatening. You can do things like that. Typically, male character, like human males have more defined canines than females. But in general, you can use that for anything. You can give canines on female, obviously, but you can do whatever you want with it. So, okay, so with that aside, let's start learning how to draw these things. So I've got a couple of examples here that I already did, but I'm going to start over and draw them from scratch here. So these are some things that I've done to show these teeth. If you notice right up here, you can kind of see that how I've demonstrated the position of the canines right here, right? I got 2 canines right here. And this is my drawing, so I drew this. This is not a reference that I pulled somewhere. So you can see the canines are right here, but you see the shape they have, you can see them. And you've got your 2 front teeth here, and then these, and see how I've counted, and we get 4 teeth. These other examples here below, I'm going to show you how to use the same example to get to that, like if you want to create like more jagged teeth or stuff. I'm going to show you how to. It's way easier than you think, and I'm going to show you how guys do it. I just got word that we hit.
So
50%.
we're going to be drawing my teeth when we get to the bottom.
We just hit 50% on Kickstarter, so thank you. Just letting you know, we just hit that right in the middle of the day. We just hit it. So Ella, congratulations. We're halfway there. So thank you guys. Okay, so let's start drawing the teeth. So let me show you how I do it, and we're gonna learn the relatively easy way to do it. So what I typically do is I carve the teeth out of shapes, right? So if I've got a mouth, in this particular instance here, we've got a mouth that's going like, we're looking at just dead on. We'll start off with a simple version of that. So we've got the teeth here. We've got the front set of teeth. And then I always know that I estimate that this is going to be about how much it's going to require space for that. I draw a line, line, line. Now, aesthetically, something's important. I'm just drawing the lines here for reference. I'm not going to keep all those lines. There's this great reference I saw on Pinterest I'm going to share with you right here, is that I thought this was great, is that anytime you put too much detail in the teeth, the more lines you put in the teeth, the more creepy they look, right? So as you isolate and show more teeth, like each individual tooth, it gets creepier and creepier. And so that's why you'll notice when I draw teeth, you very, very rarely have teeth that have, I never show all the teeth. I only show like certain gaps because that's what keeps it cute and keeps it not being creepy. Okay. So going back here, but I'm doing this here to demonstrate where the teeth are going to lie. So you see right here, I've already put together the first, the top teeth. Oh, hold on. Very quickly, just from establishing this shape. And like I said, once again, you've got 4 teeth here. Then you've got your canines. Then once I've got that done, I can start adding the details I want. I usually start adding in like the gums. And see, the cool thing about adding the gums is that now by adding the gums, I can erase the lines. See, so I just added the gums here. And if I erase the lines, look how cool that looks. The gums kind of create a indicator of where the lines are without needing to have lines there. And then I can start erasing more. And the more I erase, look how nice that looks. So now we've got this really nice top set of teeth. Fill in the gums here. And this is exactly how I do the teeth. Okay. Very simple. Now, let's say you wanted to create something more with more character. And what I mean by that is someone who has teeth that are jacked up or have one tooth that's jacked up or whatever. Let's try that again. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the framework for the teeth. We're going to draw the same framework, right? So that we kind of know where the teeth are. Hey, Tanzim. Put this framework for the teeth. And now, because I have the framework, I know where the teeth go. So I kind of use this as like a guide. So now I start pulling out my 3D, right? And I'm like, I'm going to start drawing over this. I'm going to use different, I'm going to say, okay, we want, I'm going to start, let's say we want this tooth to kind of go out here like this. We want this one to overlap and do this. Let's say we want this one to turn in. So because I have what the normal teeth look like, I can start turning them on each of the axes here, right? And now you have teeth that have like different shapes. If you hear in this other example I drew earlier, you can see here that this is a more advanced example I did here where I even have some of these teeth kicking. I have the canines kicking up here. That's actually how my teeth were when I was in middle school. It looked exactly like that. Like my teeth were sticking. I had serious braces. Good, Tansy. I'm glad you're drawing. Drawing on paper is awesome. Regardless of whether it's paper, digital, whatever, just as long as you guys are drawing. The tool doesn't matter. It just matters that you draw. So here, now we're able to see kind of the shape out of that. So you see how I was able to carve that, Ella, out of this shape? Did that make sense?
Yeah, I think that teeth have been the easiest lessons for me.
Yeah,
Like
because they should be, because we're gonna go into more advanced stuff now, but they're the simplest probably shapes to cut out, you know?
Yeah.
I saw that B was asking about drawing braces. Yeah, we can easily add braces to this. Braces, so when you do the design of braces, you have all sorts of different options. You can go really detailed, or you can do kind of like symbolic braces, right? Which are not necessarily the actual braces that are drawn in. So, for example, if I draw here, if I wanted to put braces, I could do from a symbolic level, simply put the brackets on, and that's it. Like this. You can simply do that and leave it like that. And that communicates to the audience this character has braces. You don't have to put the line in there, the actual cable, if you don't want. I actually love this particular style of doing braces because it kind of like it
Me
alludes to
too.
braces. You like it too, right? It alludes to braces without
Yeah,
the
I do.
extra. The cable in there adds another level of detail that kind of like distracts from everything. And it's very similar to what I was talking about earlier with when you put too much detail on the teeth, it gets creepier. I actually feel if you put the cable in there, it looks creepier than this. So watch the difference between this and if when I add a cable in. Hold on. So you can see that it looks more realistic, which starts getting more like, okay, I can see that mouth, and you start imagining too much about the mouth, right? With that in there. And then if you want to get more detailed, you can do things like even putting the bands, the bands that go around to hold it like this. I mean, you can go that far if you want, but there's no reason to do that unless you have a particular reason for wanting to emphasize the braces. Sometimes people will do it to make the person look, you want to make someone look more awkward. You want to make someone look more, when I've seen this done, it's usually when they try to create a really awkward, nerdy character. They will put all sorts of like, they will emphasize, and they'll even go to the point where sometimes they'll even do what is the thing called? The head bracket thing that attaches to, like, at that point, you're using that as a symbol for being like awkward, right? Which is fine. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. But I think if you want to just allude to braces, the best thing to do is just to do this. Just put these brackets. I think when we were doing some of the Star Boys, I think was it AJ who has braces or Elio? I can't remember.
They both do at one point. It's just a little blip in their story.
Okay. And so I remember with either both of them, I had to draw. I did this. I used this method where I drew
Yeah.
the squares on it. So doing that helps a lot. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. So I'm going to go back to looking at the jaw. This is not what I wanted. Hold on. Okay, so now let's talk about doing. And by the way, this right here, I drew an example of just like cartoon teeth. Like, you know, you can just, when we go back to that spectrum of like super graphic to all the way hyper real, depending on where you put things, if you're drawing Steven Universe or something, you're going to want to do like cartoony mouth like this, right? Where it doesn't matter as much. But in terms of like the anatomy, but still the best kind of teeth are the ones where the teeth are kept in a location. Oh, this is why I wanted to show you. And now I know why I pulled this up earlier. So this particular drawing right here, I did this drawing in one of my classes over this skull. And the reason why I did this was I wanted to demonstrate. Let me do this. Let me take some of this detail off. Okay. So right here, you see this guy, his mouth, we've got it open here. The jaw is open and his mouth is open. But if you notice with this kind of mouth that he has, let me do this. So his skull is open, like his jaw is wide open. But if I go in and draw what the different kinds of mouths, your mouth actual opening on your face is what makes the expression, right? It's not the opening and closing of the jaw, it's the shape of that you make your mouth hole do, right? So let's look at, for example, here, if we do this, right? He's opening his mouth really wide, and we can see these teeth are here, right? We can see the incisors, we can see the canines, all right here, right? But if I change that expression, right, we can easily change this expression. The teeth are still going to stay in the same spot. So I'm going to draw a smile on him. Now I'm obviously drawing this on a hyper realistic like skull, so this is, going to look that way. But you see, when I draw a smile on him, did the teeth move? No, right? The teeth are still there. And
No.
No. The teeth do not move. And why is that important? Because as the character, if this was animated and he was, his jaw was opening up and then he was talking, the teeth on top would stay there, would stay where they are. It would be the elastic skin around his face that's moving to create the expression, right? And so when you're drawing, if you are working in this, remember we were doing the spectrum where it's like super graphic and then hyper realistic. And then I kind of draw somewhere in here, right in the middle. And so over here, super graphic is like Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, things like that. And then over here, hyper realistic is the Statue of David. And then you've got like Attack on Titan is like right here. Like this is where you'd have like Attack on Titan. It's kind of right here. And the more you go this way, the more realistic and anatomically correct things are, right, as you move forward. If you are drawing cartoony stuff that's kind of like Steven Universe, that kind of stuff, that lives here. This is like Steven Universe right here, right? And so when you start going this way, anatomy starts becoming very jelly-like, where it doesn't matter as much, right? And so you start seeing noodly arms. You start seeing anatomy that doesn't stick to certain things. Like you see the bean mouths, right? Where you'll have a mouth and the teeth may move within the mouth, right? And that's okay. That's a stylistic choice to do that. If that's what you want, that's fine. I personally like when the teeth, regardless of what it is, kind of stay. If you've watched Amazing Digital Circus, Jax, who always talks like this, I don't know if you've noticed, but he always talks with his teeth. He never opens his mouth. Rarely does he open his teeth, right? His jaw is usually shut, and he's talking like this, which is very interesting. I don't know if they meant it purposely when they designed the character, but what's amazing about that particular about that character is that he's got a lot of there's a lot of mystery behind him and everything, and him keeping his jaw shut like that. It's like someone, when someone talks through their teeth, they're pissed, right? There's like underlying, what's it called? Aggression, stress, whatever with his teeth. But notice that his teeth don't move in his mouth. His mouth hole moves around his teeth, and it only adds to it. So that's kind of
what you're saying is that character design and motivation and all of that go hand in hand, and they have to marry together, and it's really important to have a solid character design because it affects their motivations and things like that. That's what you're saying?
Absolutely. I'm saying that it's connected. And it actually, no, what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is that the most effective character design are designs that take those things into account. It doesn't mean that every part of the body of the character has to symbolize something, right? It doesn't mean like, oh my gosh.
Of course.
And for someone like me who's super OCD, I would take that kind of advice and be like, the earlobes have to mean something. This has to mean something. No, that's not. I want you to know that's not what you have to do with your character design. Sometimes it's one thing that can symbolize something. And sometimes nothing has to symbolize anything. You don't have to insert meaning if you don't want to. But when you look at something like Jax, you know, like I said, Jax's design is very cool, and I like to hope that it's a purposeful choice when they designed his character, because he it's a very stressful design. He's got this very stressful design, you know,
Stressful.
because
I was stressfully designed.
and I guess what I mean by that when you look at Jax is that his he's supposed to look like he doesn't care, or you know, his character is very like, you know, oh, I'm a loner and I'm whatever and I'm so deep and troubled and whatever. Well, behind this, it's a fake smile, right? It's a fake smile because his teeth never open. His jaw never opens. Rarely, on very rare, and I've watched all the episodes, and in rare occasion does the jaw actually open up, right?
Hmm.
And it's a deliberate choice for that. I think it has to be, and it may have been subconscious. It may have been a subconscious choice that they didn't realize they were doing it when they designed it, but that subconsciously um, that came in to the design. So pay attention to those. So what kind of things can you do, you know, to give your character a symbolic choice with the design, especially when it comes to with any, you know, obviously with any part of their body, but if you, since we're talking teeth specifically, um, you know, thinking about, there's one character we were talking about earlier about like orthodontics being kind of like a used as a, hey, I want to create an awkward character. Like if any of you've seen Ed, Ed and Eddie, I forget the name of the character.
Mm.
There's one of the neighbor's kids has like a whole teeth
Yeah.
thing, right? He's like really, he's got
Yeah.
the plank. I think he's got plank. Jimmy, his name
Yeah.
is might be Jimmy. He's got plank, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so like with plank, but that whole like mouth guard thing, mouth brace, whatever that's called,
The
um,
headgear.
the headgear. Um, am I drawing him from, look, I'm drawing him from memory. The plank, something like this. Oh, hold on, you can't see it. Plank, something like this. It's a purposeful choice, right? It makes him awkward. It makes him, um, it's just very cool, right? They want to really drive home the fact that Jimmy is awkward, right? So they did that. They gave him
Mm.
all sorts of headgear. I think even, oh, what is the name of the girl? The girl that they all like think is hot. Like all of them are always after. I think she's the girlfriend of Kevin. I don't know if she's
I don't
girlfriends with
know.
him.
I wasn't allowed to watch that show, so.
You were not allowed to watch Ed, Ed and Eddie. Oh, it's a great show. Ed and Eddie was a great show. I can't remember the girl's name, Stacy or something. Anyway, she's got braces, but she doesn't have, if I remember, but she doesn't have the full headset. And then Kevin, I think, also has braces, but his is only the little brackets. I don't think he's got the lines or anything, because Kevin's supposed to be the cool character, right? So, oh, thank you, Beast King. Beast King, dropping a little love on us. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it just came
Get,
in. Thank you so much.
yeah, I can get me another Coke now, thanks to you. But those are all purposeful choices. So even if it's subconscious. So so when we were just studying this, where was it? Oh, wrong one. Let me go back to teeth. So back to this. You know, knowing where, so memorize that. Every time I teach you guys something about like the 90-degree rule or the rule, like write that stuff down. Like have a little notebook and write down these little checks, right?
Mm.
The 90
Mm-hmm.
degree check. Have you done the 90-degree check? Have you done the finger halfway down the thigh check? There's another check you can do for the positioning of eyes. Now, obviously, with characters, you can do all sorts of things with eyes. You can space them far apart. You can make them very narrow. But normally, the default, you know, golden retriever, Labrador, you know how Labradors are kind of like the default dog. Like if you have like the
Yeah.
default human design is like one eye distance between the two eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's a default design. You can check too for that. Like I design my characters that way. What's his name? Midoriya, he does not follow that rule. He's got giant eyes, and they take a big part of his face. Why? Can you tell me why, Ella? Can you guess why they do that?
Because he's innocent.
Yes. It's meant to be so that he's innocent and then he looks cute and he looks like it's supposed to look more like
He's like a
childlike that way.
sheep ready for slaughter.
That's right. Now, the one thing I noticed that they didn't do, normally what happens in those kind of designs is that whenever you start off with characters that way, is that over time the character evolves and their eyes shrink and they
Mm-hmm.
become more spaced so that it is symbolically representing your growth, right? Because remember,
Yeah.
animation and drawing, animation, illustration, you are conveying ideas through symbols,
Yeah.
right? This is not literally what a mouth looks like, literally this way, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
symbolized this way, right? These are humans symbolized through drawings. So, when you are trying to convey character growth and maturity, you can convey that through the use of eyes and the proportion of the eyes. The more narrow the eyes are, sometimes if you want to make someone look kind of sneaky or whatever, you'll put the eyes really close together, make them very, very narrow, and small. If you want to show someone who's like, look at the difference between, I use these two a lot, but from Full Metal Alchemist, look at Ed versus Scar, right? Ed is teenager. He's had his own trauma, but he's like just started. He's relatively naive compared to someone like Scar, right? Who's got beady eyes, small. He's obviously older, but his eyes are much smaller than Ed's, and over time, as Ed grows through the series, his eyes shrink a little bit over it to not only indicate age, but to indicate maturity. So you can do all sorts of things like that and communicate things through design that way. Okay.
Yeah. I think what I'm understanding by all of this is that you got to get it sort of the traditional way first and learn the rules, and then you start to break and bend those rules to form stylistic choices. But you have to
Yes.
like learn it first.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you don't know how it works, how can you even bend the rule? Like if you don't know that you have four
Right.
teeth between the canines and you're just like, and by the way, I'm guilty of this. I used to do this when I was first drawing. I would draw, oh, canines are cool. But I would draw like freaking like 7 teeth between them before you got to the canines. I'd draw them too far back.
Yeah.
Or I would draw them way too close to the front. And if you want to draw a character with fangs, for example, you can take these out. You can kind of know where the position of the fangs are. If you want to turn these into fangs, well, you just swap these out. Watch that. When I drew the Devil Marco drawing, I used the same method. I didn't give him giant fangs, but they were, you see how they kind of emerge from this location? See? So now you know how to draw fangs because you know where they belong in the mouth. Whenever I had to draw this. Marco's dad, in this old concept art I have, has a snake tattoo on his arm, a snake sigil. And I had to learn, I'd never drawn the inside of a snake's mouth. And that's one of the cool things about being an artist is that when you're going to draw something, you go down this rabbit hole of learning about how things work. And I don't remember it all now because it's been a while, but I remember, oh, that's how snake teeth work, right? And what the inside of a snake's mouth looks like. I wasn't just going to guess it. I wanted it to look accurate, right? So I went and researched it and look at all these open snake mouths and things like that. So that made a difference in the accuracy of how my work looked. By the way, welcome. If you're new here, I'm RC. I'm the creator of Flux Destiny. Just taking a quick stop to say hi. Welcome you to our community. If our server's open, now's a great time to jump in. Normally it's closed to only like supporters. So this is a great time to join our community. We have such a really awesome community here. If you're looking to make friends, escape this kind of crazy world we're in and go create and have fun and tell stories, this is the time to get in. Ella will drop the link in the chat if you want to join us. It's also our Kickstarter just went off today for our OC journal. I think we've now hit like 57%, something like that.
We
So
have.
we added 7 more percent since we started this particular live stream. So we're closing in on 60%, which is really awesome. And it'd be really awesome if we could hit 100 today. That would be a big win for all of us. So check out, Ella will drop the link for the Kickstarter too, if you're interested in our OC journal that we've developed to help you develop, record the life of your OC and capture your whole OC in a book. So we put that together. Okay, any questions about this, Ella, or anyone about this particular?
No, I think it's making sense.
Okay.
I feel good.
You feel good. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I stylistically rarely draw the bottom teeth fully detailed. I usually just draw them as almost like a shape. The only times I put any detail on the bottom teeth is when I'm doing something like this. If I need to create, jacked up teeth, right? Where the teeth are crowding together or whatever. That's how I would normally do it. So let's talk about now. So we've kind of seen like head-on teeth like this. So let's talk about when you're looking inside someone's mouth, when the mouth is open. Let me see. I might have an example here. Give me 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. Let me find this. I forgot to open it before we started the show. Oh. Where is it? Okay, well, I'll just draw it from scratch. Here's one you can look at. So let's look at this page from the manga. If we look at this panel right here, you can see that the bottom teeth are usually indicated almost just by a shape, right? If I were to draw over this, remember we were doing this test earlier. Let me show you. I was showing you guys the X-ray test. If you do the X-ray test, you'll see that this should work. Should work if I did my job right. So we've got his eye sockets are right here. You've got his nose. Then you've got, this is where the top teeth go. So you see them right here. Here's the teeth, and you can see where they're aligned in his skull, right? At the top. See that? And then if we look below where his jaw is, or his mandible for Ruben, if he's here.
Called out.
You got the jaw here. Well, see, you can see the teeth right here, see? Where they belong. The rest of this is obviously, cheek fat and muscle and things like that. But this is the actual jawbone itself. And you can see the teeth there. Does that make sense? So you can see that it's grounded in reality, right? Like when I drew this particular drawing, I grounded the teeth into the real, like, anatomy of the head, is what I'm trying to say. And you can see it here. I can pull that away and you can go here and look. And sometimes I'll do this with my design. Sometimes you'll see that I leave this kind of like center line here. And it's just to be kind of like, I started doing it when I would draw just so I knew where the center tooth was so I could count to where the canines were. But sometimes I'll leave it just kind of cute. It's just a cute thing that I will leave the center line. It's not meant to be a gap. It's just meant to be cute, you know?
Yeah.
So when you're drawing like the other teeth, like from different angles, literally just do this. Just draw like almost like a retainer shape inside the mouth like this. See, so you've got, here's the middle. So we're looking at the bottom teeth right now. And you can just draw it like this, like a retainer shape. You don't have to put all the details. Now, you can if you want to. If you want to emphasize, you know, molars or whatever, for whatever reason, you can totally do that. But it's simple as drawing these kind of horseshoe shapes. And that's the same with the top. If I were to draw the top tooth, I would just invert this shape. So notice how I just drew this right here, the top. I kind of drew this, and now I can go in here and start carving out the teeth. We'll put the center tooth right here. This right here is where the two front teeth are. And we've got these incisors right here. And we've got the canines right here. See? And then you can just keep going, and you can just keep carving out the teeth until I think the human mouth has like 36 teeth. I think something like that.
Too many.
It's too many. But you know, the thing is that what's important is that knowing that, obviously you're not going to draw every tooth unless you're doing something where you want to do one of those SpongeBob takes, you know, where SpongeBob would like pause and then you see grossly like detailed drawings. Fine. But knowing how a mouth is built means that you can symbolize it. You don't have to show every tooth. You can symbolize it, but it's still based in anatomical reality, right?
Right.
So knowing that makes a big difference. See here, I've represented all these teeth with just the same kind of, you know, same teeth shapes. But if you look at this, and I add gums, look at that. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Ella, look at that.
I'm witnessing.
Are you witnessing that? Look at that. Look
I'm witnessing.
What I want you to walk away with is how quickly I drew that. Did you see how quickly I just drew a set of teeth?
Yes.
Like that? It's all from carving it out of shapes. Right?
I hate that that's the reality, but it's true. It's just shapes. It really is. And I hate it because I'm terrible at drawing shapes, but I will get better. This is why I'm taking the course.
Yeah, and you will get better at it. You will get better at it, and it just comes from demystifying the anatomy. You know, if you understand how the teeth are built, then you can draw them. And there's no need for them to be perfect right off the bat. You don't have to draw them perfectly. You know, the key is to get the shapes there. Remember, especially if you're drawing digitally, you have an infinite number of layers you can put on top, right? Rough out the idea, get it out first, then do the corrections. You guys have seen when I drew that this Hugo picture over here, this one, the one that we're finishing up today, it was a mess at first when I was figuring out this look. And then I went in and added more layers and went and fixed it and continued to adjust it until I got this drawing to be what I wanted. Because I know that I have more layers to work with, right? I'm like, oh no, I have one layer to draw and that's it. I have to get this right. No, that's what makes having layers amazing, is that you can keep doing it. In fact, sometimes what I'll do is if I'm working on something in particularly difficult of drawing, I will draw very rough. I will do another layer, rough it again, and sometimes rough as much as 3 times before I get to something that I can clean up. So
yeah, because the structure is the most important.
That's right.
Because then you're gonna have to, if you get through the whole thing, and then you realize that something is off, then it's like, well,
exactly.
I'm already here.
Exactly, especially when it comes to when we were talking about proportions yesterday. Proportions, my dear, proportions. Look at that. Look at that. It looks like a church. Look, this is like Notre Dame over
Church
here.
of
Look at
Teeth.
this. Church of Teeth. The
Oh
Church of Teeth
no.
over here. Look at that.
Oh
Beautiful. Ah,
no.
gorgeous. Gorgeous teeth. All right. I just love beautiful teeth. Okay. Anyway. All right. So any questions, Ella? Does that all make sense? Do you have any questions? Any questions I'm missing from anyone
No, that
watching?
looks I'm absorbing all of it. I'm sure that as I kind of go through the course and I have more thoughts and things that I'm practicing, that I'm gonna run into things that I have questions about. Um, but right now I'm feeling okay. I liked this one. I felt like I could kind of jump into this one with the skills that I have and turn out something that was sort of similar to what you did.
Yeah, and so with this kind of stuff, you can easily do this and just draw teeth. And the thing is, just draw the teeth. Don't worry about the head or whatever. Just draw the framework and draw the teeth.
Mhm.
So, have fun with it. The last thing I'll say real quick is that there's also different styles of tongue you can do. You know,
Mhm.
the more you draw the depression in the tongue, the more realistic it is versus you can do a more cartoony tongue that's like this. I've started drawing mine a little more realistic than than the priest would be a dead. Nikki, you're funny. I like that. I like that. But there's different styles of tongue you can draw too. Like I said, this just depends on where you are on the spectrum. I've started drawing, like I said, mine more realistically, but I used to draw them more cartoony. I love drawing like
Mm.
pillowy tongues. The tongue is a lot of fun to draw. So, all right. Well, did you guys learn something? I hope you did.
Yes.
I hope you guys all learned
Yes.
from this experience. So now you've got teeth. You learned how to draw a head today, to construct a head. You've got the teeth. You knew how to
We
draw
got
the teeth.
proportions,
Proportions. We also learned, what else did we learn? Eyes. We did some things
hair.
on eyes. Hair. Hair. So there's a lot of like quick little things that you guys have learned. You've learned some tips, right?
Yeah.
You learned like the
Yes.
90 degree rule. You
Mhm.
learned the the hand down the thigh rule, you
Mhm.
know, four teeth
I love it.
rule.
And this is a great I think this is a great intro to the stuff that we're going to learn in the course that we're going to go through. I'm very excited about it. We've actually got a lot of people who are joining us on that journey to see the skill tree and all that kind of stuff. I'm super super excited about it. We're already talking in the art club room on Discord. If you're interested in joining that tier on our Patreon, we're going to be posting the actual videos themselves online for free. But then if you kind of want the references and homework that RC is going to give me, and of course to see my terrible progress, you can join us on that tier. And I'm really excited because I just can't wait to get into it. I can't wait to have questions. Right now I feel like I don't know what I don't know, so I'm like, I don't have any questions. I'm gonna have questions. Like I'm excited to get to that point where I can start asking stuff. So yeah, I'm really, this is kind of the end of like the workshop part before we get to tonight's final cleanup and Kickstarter party. So thank you guys for joining us and for joining me on my uh discovery of how much work this is going to be for this course. I was coming into this, I was like, oh, I'm so excited and stuff, and then RC was teaching and like rapid firing stuff at me, and now I'm a little bit like, oh man, there's so much to learn. But it's great because it's also like a wealth of, it's almost like walking into a candy store. There's so much to learn, and it's so exciting to like accumulate all this knowledge and stuff. So I'm really excited about it for sure.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we will see you at 6:30. Thank you again for everyone who's jumped into the Kickstarter. We are at 57%. Pretty good for the
Pretty
first
good.
day. For within what, 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours of starting, I think we're going to be there. So, thank you guys so much. We will see you tonight at 6:30, and we'll close out the training arc. Have a good afternoon. We'll see you soon.